The Sleepiest Bedtime Story. Sleeping counting sheep in New Zealand. Once upon a time, in the rolling green hills of New Zealand, where the air smells like fresh clover and the skies blush pink in the evening, there lived a little sheep named Luna. Luna was the fluffiest, sleepiest sheep in all of the South Island. Her wool was like a soft cloud, and wherever she walked, she made the tiniest, dreamiest "baa" you ever did hear. Every evening, just as the golden sun dipped below the mountains and painted the clouds with honey-colored light, Luna would begin her bedtime ritual. She'd stretch one leg, then another. She'd yawn the biggest yawn a sheep could ever yawn. And then, she'd begin to count. One fluffy cloud drifting above the mountains. She blinked slowly, her little tail wagging in the breeze. Two sleepy tuis singing their final lullaby in the pohutakawa tree. The tuis cooed softly, their songs fading into the hush of twilight. Three glowing glowworms lighting up the damp caves beneath the hills. Down below, in a magical cave near Waitomo, the glowworms blinked their tiny lights like stars under the earth. Four woolly friends munching quietly on evening grass. Her fellow sheep, Woolbert, Daisy, Cloudfoot, and Mop, grazed in silence, their ears flicking to the rhythm of the wind. Five gentle waves rolling onto the shores of Milford Sound. The sea, far off in the distance, whispered against the rocks, each wave slower and sleepier than the last. Luna's eyes were half closed now. Six kiwis waddling home beneath the ferns. The flightless birds rustled quietly, tucking themselves in beneath the giant silver ferns. 7 stars twinkling in the southern cross above. The stars winked at her, as if to say, "It's time, little one." 8 tufts of grass shaped like pillows in the meadow. Luna nestled into one, fluffier than a dream. 9 mountain peaks hidden beneath sleepy clouds. The mountains yawned too, wearing fog like cozy scarves. 10 warm breaths of wind that kissed her curls goodnight. Each breeze was softer than the last, until the world was still. And there, under the moonlit sky, in the hills of New Zealand where sheep outnumber people, Luna drifted into the dreamiest dream. She dreamt of floating on a woolen cloud above the island, where the rivers were made of chamomile tea, and the forests whispered lullabies in the language only sleepy creatures understand. She dreamt of gentle cows dancing in pajamas, of whales humming lullabies deep beneath the Tasman Sea, of butterflies that only flew at night to sprinkle sleep dust on every living thing. In Luna's dream, even the stars slept. Even the wind snored a little. Even time slowed down, curling up like a kitten and resting for a while. And as you listen to her count, and imagine those soft green hills, you might just find yourself getting a little bit sleepy. So let's count with Luna one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now, just like Luna, let's drift off into the softest, sleepiest dream. ZZZ. The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 2. Sleeping Luna's Dream in New Zealand. As Luna snuggled into her grassy pillow and drifted off, something wonderful happened. A small, silver feather floated down from the sky and landed softly on her nose. As soon as it touched her, Luna's wool sparkled ever so faintly, and she dreamed herself awake in a land unlike any she'd seen before. This was Dream Zealand, a sleepy, magical version of New Zealand where everything was softer, slower, and made especially for dreams. The grass was made of green silk. The clouds were marshmallow boats floating just above the hills. The rivers didn't rush, they hummed lullabies and carried bubbles filled with tiny, sleeping ducks. Luna blinked, yawned again because even in dreams she was sleepy, and began walking slowly through the dream meadow. There, she met Milo the sleepy moa, a tall, fuzzy bird who wore nightcap and slippers. "Welcome, Luna," Milo said with a nod so slow it took 5 whole seconds. "You're just in time. It's almost Dream Parade." "Dream Parade?" Luna asked, her voice soft like wool. Milo nodded again. "Every night, in Dream Zealand, all the sleepiest creatures walk in a circle, so slow and cozy, it helps the whole world fall asleep." So Luna joined the Dream Parade. They moved, one slow step at a time. Behind her came a snoring kiwi bird wrapped in a blanket made of stars. A seal balancing a moon-shaped pillow on its nose. A dragonfly playing the tiniest harp you've ever heard, it sounded like gentle rain on leaves. A sloth wearing a robe made of clouds, sipping warm sleepyberry tea. They walked past Dream Lake, where the fish yawned so wide their bubbles floated like balloons into the sky. They passed Dream Forest, where the trees leaned toward each other, whispering, "Shish," with every breeze. They reached the foot of Mount Snuggle, where the snow was actually powdered sugar and the caves glowed with soft amber light. There, they all curled up together on a bed made of moss, feathers, and dreams. And the moon, big, golden, and yawn-shaped, peeked down over the mountaintop and said, "Well done, dreamers. Time to drift." Luna closed her eyes inside her dream, and the dream folded itself like a blanket around her. She floated back through layers of sleep, past the twinkling tuis, past the sleeping glowworms, past the gentle waves of Milford Sound, until she was back in her field in real New Zealand, under the real moon, and yet, something sparkled faintly in her wool. A single silver feather remained. She sighed the happiest, sleepiest sigh. And just before the sun began to peek over the horizon, she whispered, "One last sheep, me." And with that, she fell into a dream within a dream, and then deeper still, where the only sound was the rustle of the grass, the hush of the stars, and maybe, just maybe, the sound of you snoring gently beside her. The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 3, Sleeping the Cuddle Cloud Islands. In the deepest part of her dream, wrapped in warm starlight and still holding the silver feather, Luna stirred gently. A soft breeze tickled her ears, and the dream shifted again. She was now floating, not on grass or moss or a fluffy hill, but on a cloud. A real one. It was shaped like a heart and smelled faintly of vanilla and rain. As Luna looked around, she realized she had drifted all the way to the Cuddle Cloud Islands, the softest, coziest place in all of Dream Zealand. Each island was made of a different kind of comfort. One was like cotton candy, gently warm and never sticky. Another was a quilt of patchwork dreams, stitched with laughter from the happiest sleepers. A third island was made entirely of naps, not beds, just the feeling of being wrapped up, dozing, with nothing to worry about. Floating beside her on nearby clouds were more sleepy dream creatures. A sleepy koala named Kiki, who clutched a stuffed moon and wore socks made of starlight. A tiny penguin with a woolen scarf and closed eyes, snoring so softly it sounded like a cat purring in the next room. A pair of flying sheep, twin brothers named Bounce and Drift, who did loop-de-loops in the sky and landed with feather-light puffs. "Welcome to the islands," whispered Bounce. "Everyone here," said Drift, "is here to really rest." Luna blinked. "I thought I was already asleep." Kiki the koala giggled, a slow, sleepy sound. "Ah, but this is double sleep. The kind of rest that goes all the way into your toes." The penguin waddled over and handed Luna a cup of something warm, moon milk cocoa, with just a touch of cinnamon and a swirl of cloud cream. She took a sip, and her eyelids drooped lower than ever before. The clouds rocked gently, like hammocks in the sky. The stars above began to hum, and soft night music drifted down like snow. And then, from the highest cloud of all, came the gentle tolling of the sleep bell. It only rang once every 100 dreams, and only when someone had truly, deeply relaxed. Dong. Everyone smiled sleepily and turned over in their fluffiest nests. Even Luna, with her dreamy heart full of softness, began to drift again. But just before she floated into her next layer of dreaming, the clouds around her parted, and she saw something glowing in the distance. It was a light, a soft one, a light coming from a lighthouse. Far away. On the edge of the dream. It pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, inviting her onward. Luna sighed, curled her hooves beneath her, and mumbled, "Maybe, just one more dream." The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 4, Sleeping the Lullaby Lighthouse. Luna drifted gently through the soft skies of Dream Zealand, still curled up on her cloud, holding her half-empty cup of moon milk cocoa. Around her, the night air shimmered with sleepy sparkles. The silver feather on her wool glowed faintly, pointing toward the horizon. In the distance stood a tall, slow-turning tower on the edge of a dream ocean, the Lullaby Lighthouse. It wasn't made of brick or stone, but of polished seashells, driftwood, and stardust. Its windows glowed warm golden light, and from the very top, a great soft beam pulsed into the sky, not to warn ships, but to soothe them. It sang lullabies to any dream sailor or sleep creature who wandered too far and needed to find their way home. Luna's cloud floated gently down to the shoreline, where the waves lapped like a mother's whisper, "Shish, shish, shish." She stepped onto the sandy path, but it wasn't really sand. It was made of crushed moon petals and felt like velvet beneath her hooves. At the lighthouse door stood a sleepy old owl with round glasses and a tiny pocket watch. "Hoot, you must be Luna," the owl said. "You've come a long way. The keeper is expecting you." "The keeper?" Luna asked with a slow blink. "Yes, dear," he said with a nod. "The keeper of lullabies. She collects every yawn, every hum, every night sound and sends it across the dream world. Without her, some dreams would drift away and never come back." Luna followed the owl inside. The stairs wound up and up and up, but they were made of slow springing pillows. Every step gave a soft squish, like walking on a warm marshmallow. At the very top, in a round room with windows on every side, sat the keeper of lullabies, a tall, elegant cat wrapped in a robe of night sky, with stars twinkling in her fur. She sat beside a giant spinning globe, and each time she turned it, a new lullaby echoed through the room. A baby dolphin's underwater hum. The slow creak of a rocking chair in a faraway cabin. A gentle breeze sighing through a tree in Norway. A grandmother's whisper, "Close your eyes, little one." "Welcome, Luna," said the keeper in a voice like velvet. "You've reached the edge of dreaming. You've walked the meadow, floated the clouds, and now, it's time." "Time for what?" Luna whispered. The keeper smiled. "Time to help others sleep. You've gathered such sweet dreams, it's time to share them." She placed a glowing bubble in front of Luna. Inside it were all the cozy things Luna had seen. The glowworms, the cocoa, the penguin's scarf, the sleep parade, the tuis singing goodnight. "Blow gently," the keeper said. So Luna took a deep, dreamy breath and blew. The bubble floated out the window, then popped softly, releasing sparkles that drifted across the sky like gentle fireflies. And somewhere, far away, a little child turned over in bed and smiled in their sleep. Another sighed happily and hugged their pillow tighter. And a tired grown-up, who hadn't rested in days, finally closed their eyes. "You've done it," the keeper purred. "You're now a true dream-bringer." Luna yawned, the biggest yawn of all, and the keeper lifted her gently with a paw made of stars and tucked her into a tiny hammock made of wind. "You'll dream the best sleep now, dear one," the keeper whispered. "For you carry the dreams of others, too." Luna smiled, curled her legs beneath her, and at last, at the edge of all dreaming, she fell into the deepest sleep of her life. So deep, even the clouds were quiet. So soft, even time tiptoed. So peaceful, that even you might feel it now. As the lullaby lighthouse spins slowly. Singing. Calling. Soothing. Shush. Sleep is here. You're safe. You're home. ZZZ. The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 5, Sleeping the Dreamtime Railway. After her long rest in the lullaby lighthouse, Luna awoke gently, without ever really opening her eyes. A soft ding-ding echoed across the air like chimes on the wind. And then, chuff-chuff, chuff-chuff. Far below the lighthouse, on a track that shimmered into existence like a whispered wish, came a sleepy old train. It glided over glowing rails that curved through clouds, forests, moonbeams, and stars. Painted on the side of the engine in soft gold letters were the words, "Dreamtime Railway, all dreams welcome." Waiting by the platform was a conductor, an old hedgehog in a waistcoat, with a lantern that glowed like a nightlight and a ticket punch shaped like a crescent moon. "Ticket for Luna," he called softly, as if afraid to wake the air itself. Luna stepped aboard, wool still warm from her rest, and found a seat by the window in car number 7, the napper's nest. Every seat was a nest, literally, made of feathers, fluff, and cloud threads, and shaped perfectly to hold one sleepy traveler. The train gave a gentle whistle, not loud, but like the exhale of someone falling asleep. Then it began to move. Not fast, not slow, just right. The dream train puffed softly through the meadow of forgotten lullabies, where songs once sung long ago floated like butterflies in the breeze. The tunnel of tucked-in wishes, where every wall whispered a sleepy secret, like, "You're safe now," and "You are loved." The pajama plains, where the trees wore robes and every squirrel had slippers. And over the bridge of Ba, where sheep flew gently through the sky like balloons, counting themselves as they passed. 1, 2, Z's. In Luna's car, other passengers dozed. A sleepy bear cub curled in a giant teacup. A turtle in a hammock tied between two suitcase handles. A sleep mouse family bundled up in acorn caps and flannel scarves. The conductor shuffled by, whispering soft goodnights, and placed a tiny dream under every traveler's pillow. For Luna, he left a dream of her childhood, a grassy hill, a daisy chain, her mother's nose nuzzling hers as she was tucked in on her very first night out in the pasture. Tears welled softly in her sleepy eyes, not from sadness, but from comfort, because in this dream, she was exactly where she was meant to be. The train rolled on, until even the stars were asleep. And then, just as dawn began to stir in the real world, faint and golden and distant, the Dreamtime Railway slowed.
The conductor returned, smiling gently. "Final stop, dear dreamers," he said. "You'll wake now, but slowly, like the sun rising through fog." Luna gave a last, cozy stretch and stepped off the train. The rails behind her dissolved like a sigh. And when she opened her eyes, really, truly opened them, she was back in her meadow in New Zealand. The real one. The wind was soft. The sky was pink. And her wool sparkled just slightly, as if dusted with stardust and dreams. She looked to the horizon and whispered, "Thank you, Dreamtime." Then she nestled back into the grass and closed her eyes again, just for a moment. Because sleep, after all, is never really over. It just takes you to new places. And tonight, maybe, just maybe, the Dreamtime Railway will return for you. So close your eyes, listen for the whistle, and let the tracks take you away. Chuff, 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 seas. The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 6, Sleeping the Nap Nest Library. After the Dreamtime Railway faded into the morning mist, Luna stretched, blinked, and let out a long, happy sigh. But this time, instead of waking up completely, she felt something tug at her hooves. A warm breeze carried her gently toward a spiraling, hollow tree in the middle of a silver forest. It was tall and ancient, with a wooden sign hanging from one branch that read, "Nap Nest Library. A place for sleepy stories and dreamy thoughts." The door opened with a soft creak, but not a spooky creak. More like the creak of a favorite rocking chair on a rainy afternoon. Inside, the air smelled like warm paper, cinnamon, and just a hint of lavender. Bookshelves spiraled up and up and up into the treetop canopy. Instead of hard covers, every book was wrapped in soft cloth, like baby blankets, and nestled in little wooden nests. Each book snored quietly. A gentle librarian, a wise old possum named Noni, looked up from her reading glasses and smiled. "Luna," she said, "you've come to return your dreams." "Return them?" Luna asked, tilting her head. "Yes, dear, all dreams live here when they're finished. They curl up into books and sleep until someone else needs them." Noni led Luna through the rows of cozy shelves. Here was a book titled, "The Sleep Parade of the Penguins." Another, "The Time I Took a Nap on Saturn's Rings." And one very tiny one, "The Night a Mouse Rode a Comet." Luna found a shelf labeled, "Luna the Lamb's Dream Collection." She gently placed a glowing dream bubble inside a waiting nest. It purred softly, then closed itself into a book. "I never knew dreams could be saved," Luna whispered. "Oh yes," Noni said, patting her softly. "Every dream you've ever had lives here. And someday, another dreamer will open one, and your dream will become theirs." Luna smiled, her wool warming with the thought. She curled into a nest at the back of the library, where no one spoke above a whisper, and drifted once more into the softest, hushest nap. The Sleepiest Bedtime Story Part 7, Sleeping a Dream Shared. As Luna slept in her library nest, her dreams shifted again, not into a new place, but into a memory. Not a big one, a small one, gentle. She remembered a time, not long ago, when she had a best friend, a sheep named Sora. Sora had left their pasture to explore dreams of her own, and they hadn't seen each other since. In the dream, Luna wandered through a field of shared dreams, where dreams from two minds mixed together like paint in water. She passed one where a fox and a goose dreamed they could fly together, another where a whale and a tree had tea parties under the sea. And then, she saw it. A glowing meadow? A daisy chain? A soft laugh? Sora? Luna whispered. And there she was, standing in a sunbeam made of song, her wool a little longer, her eyes sleepy but bright. Luna, Sora called, trotting over. I was hoping I'd find you again. They nuzzled gently, then walked together through the field of shared dreams. We've changed, Sora said softly. Luna nodded, but not too much. They dreamed together that night. Of building a floating nest in a cloud. Of making lullabies for bees. Of wrapping the world in the biggest blanket ever made. And when the morning light began to glow at the edges of the dream, Luna knew it was time to wake. But she turned to Sora and whispered, let's meet here again. Same time tomorrow night. Sora smiled, always. And as the dream folded close like the last page of a book, Luna drifted back to her meadow in New Zealand, heart full, wool warm, mind quiet. Because the best dreams are the ones we share. And tomorrow night, there will be more. Z.